It began quietly. No alarms. No explosions. No warning sirens blaring across the world. Just the sky. On a clear morning, people around the world noticed something strange. Tiny points of light moved together, silently, perfectly aligned, across the heavens. Astronomers immediately pointed their telescopes. Scientists calculated trajectories. Air traffic controllers noticed blips on their screens. And slowly it became clear, these were not satellites. Not meteors. Not any human technology. The lights were massive. Immense ships, glinting metal reflecting the sun, stretching kilometers in length, blocking the view of stars behind them. They moved with impossible precision, and yet, there was no noise. Not a single sound. Panic spread slowly at first, like a cold wind sneaking under the doors of every city. News anchors stuttered on live broadcasts. Governments issued calm statements, urging citizens not to panic. But no statement could hide the truth. Earth was being watched. Not by one ship. Not by a few. By a fleet. A fleet unlike anything humanity had ever seen. From orbit, alien ships arranged themselves into patterns. Perfect geometric formations, encircling the planet, covering the skies. Satellites detected energy emissions, but they were faint. Too faint to be weapons, yet powerful enough to keep humans on edge. And still, nothing happened. People stared up at the sky, trying to understand. Was this an invasion? A warning? Or something else entirely? Meanwhile, in government bunkers and secret military command centers, leaders and strategists scrambled to respond. Yet even they did not act immediately. They had no idea what these alien visitors wanted. Every theory seemed both plausible and impossible. A general looked at the holographic projections of the fleet. The ships were enormous, their hulls shimmering, almost organic in design. "They're not attacking," he said slowly. "Not yet. But they're studying, calculating, waiting." "Yes," replied a scientist, his voice calm but tense. "They're observing, learning, treating us like variables in a system." Across the world, people experienced the invasion differently. In rural towns, farmers stopped working in the fields. They stared at the sky, unable to comprehend the scale of what hovered above them. In cities, traffic slowed to a crawl. People abandoned their commutes, gathering in parks, squares, or rooftops, all eyes turned upward. The aliens did not communicate at first. But then came the messages. At first, they were brief, strange signals picked up on global radio frequencies, simple patterns repeated in every language. Governments scrambled to decode them. Universities and tech companies joined the effort. And slowly the messages became clear. Humanity, do not interfere. No one understood what that meant. Some believed it was a warning. Some feared it was a threat. Others thought it might be an offer of peace. But one thing was certain. The aliens were patient. And patience is a weapon. In a high-security facility, a young analyst studied the patterns. Lines of code and signal pulses scrolled across her screen. She noticed something no one else had. The aliens' movements were not random. "They are predictable," she said, pointing at a holographic projection. "Every time they adjust orbit, every energy pulse, every formation shift, it follows a pattern. A rhythm." The general frowned. "Why would they follow a pattern if they're trying to intimidate us?" The analyst shrugged. "Maybe, because they believe they don't need to improvise. Maybe they think rules protect them." Outside, humans reacted in smaller, personal ways. Children gazed at the sky with awe, unaware of the danger. Parents held them close, unsure whether to feel hope or fear. Social media exploded with images and videos of the fleet, hashtags spreading globally within minutes. Hashtag alien arrival, hashtag sky over Earth, hashtag first contact. Amid the chaos, small teams of scientists began working in secret. In abandoned subway tunnels, old military bunkers, and undisclosed laboratories, they started to analyze the alien fleet. No signals were sent. No wireless networks used. Every calculation, every observation, every plan was done in silence. They discovered something crucial. The aliens were obeying rules of war. They did not fire on civilians. They did not destroy cities. They did not alter the planet's atmosphere. They observed, calculated, and contained, but they did not harm. That realization caused a ripple of hope among the humans working in secrecy. If the aliens followed rules, then rules could be tested, bent, or even broken. Meanwhile, above the planet, the aliens continued their observation. From their command ships, Earth was a small blue sphere, teeming with life and unpredictable activity. The aliens had conquered many worlds before. They were confident in their systems, in their calculations, in their ability to contain species. Yet Earth was different. Humans were emotional, chaotic, messy. And for the first time, a species' unpredictability did not seem like a weakness. It felt dangerous. The first contact, although silent, had already begun. Humans watched. Humans learned. Humans waited. And in that silence, a question lingered over every city, bunker, and observatory. What will we do when they finally act? That question created tension, suspense, fear. And for some, the spark of something else, curiosity. In New York, a young student held her telescope steady, her heart pounding. She whispered, "We have to be ready." In Moscow, a retired pilot studied alien formations, muttering, "They're following a pattern, we can use that." In Beijing, a group of engineers looked at orbital data, nodding silently, "We can do this, but we must be careful." All over the planet, humanity was quietly preparing, even as the world panicked. The aliens had not yet attacked. They had not yet fired a shot. But the stage was set. The war, the test, the first moves, they were all waiting to begin. And when they did, humans would not respond as expected. The arrival of the fleet was only the beginning. The real story, how humans would react, was about to unfold. Above all, one truth emerged: humanity, cornered and observed, was already planning its first move. And the universe would not be ready for what came next. Days passed since the alien fleet arrived. Earth seemed unchanged on the surface. Children played in streets, cars moved along highways, markets buzzed with life. Yet above them, the alien ships hovered like silent guardians, or predators. Humans could see them. Everyone could. Yet no one fully understood them. In underground command centers, scientists and strategists worked tirelessly. They studied the alien formations, the energy patterns, the timing of fleet movements. Every calculation, every observation became a lifeline. "Look at this," said a young analyst, pointing at a holographic map. "Every adjustment the fleet makes follows a rhythm. They correct in predictable intervals. And yet, a general continued, they've never fired a weapon. They're patient, too patient." The silence from above weighed heavier than any sound. It pressed on humanity like a tidal wave, and yet it also gave them an opportunity. The first reports of civilian reactions came in. Panic was widespread but inconsistent. Some people fled cities, boarding ships and planes, desperate to leave the orbit of their own planet. Others stayed, frozen by fear, watching the sky. Governments struggled to maintain calm. The alien fleet's presence was impossible to ignore. In the shadows, humanity's hidden planners began noticing patterns. "They are calculating," whispered one scientist. "Every city, every region, every military unit is being observed. They are cataloging human behavior." "Yes," replied another. "And they expect obedience. They assume fear will control us." But humans were never so simple. In small bunkers around the world, old satellites were dusted off, cargo drones reprogrammed, and sensors calibrated. Every action was done quietly, without detection. No wireless signals. No alarms. Just careful observation. Meanwhile, the aliens continued their surveillance. From their command ships, they scanned human networks, trying to predict responses. Every anomaly confused them. Every unplanned action created tiny ripples they could not immediately calculate. For the first time, humanity realized that the aliens were not invincible. They were structured. They followed rules. They expected humans to obey patterns. And rules could be broken. In Tokyo, a team of engineers examined a series of satellite data. "They're avoiding the polar regions," one said. "Why?" asked another. "Perhaps they think nothing important is there," replied the first. In Berlin, a retired military officer studied the orbital mechanics. "They never cross this sector. Always leave a gap. Predictable, exploitable," he muttered to his colleagues. Across continents, similar discoveries were made. Humans were learning about the enemy before the enemy even attacked. And still, panic continued. Airports were overwhelmed. Communications networks clogged. People argued, prayed, and debated in ways that showed both fear and hope. The alien fleet had not attacked, yet it had already changed humanity. One reporter, broadcasting from the streets of New York, tried to reassure the public. "We don't know why they're here. We don't know what they want. But they haven't attacked. Stay calm. Stay safe." Her voice trembled slightly. Everyone watching could feel the tension. Back in the command centers, some humans saw the truth behind the fear. "We have time," said a strategist calmly. "They observe. They calculate. They expect predictable responses. And humanity is not predictable." That statement was a spark. It ignited plans, discussions, debates about what could be done. Not as soldiers, not as nations, but as one species united in survival. Then came the first warning signs. Small anomalies appeared in the alien fleet's formation. A single ship drifted slightly out of line. Energy pulses misaligned briefly. Sensors detected shifts in orbital trajectories that seemed too minor to matter, yet mattered greatly. The humans observing from Earth noticed immediately. "They're not perfect," whispered one analyst. "One tiny mistake and it could cascade." And humanity began to see possibilities. "What if we provoke a small error?" one engineer asked. "Just a tiny adjustment that doesn't harm, but forces them to react?" The council considered it. Every plan was discussed cautiously. The aliens' presence was overwhelming, yet the humans had something the invaders did not: creativity born of chaos. Above Earth, the alien fleet recalculated. Their sensors picked up the hidden activity. Satellites repositioned, cargo drones subtly adjusted, minor shifts in radio signals. But the aliens did not recognize the significance. They assumed human activity was chaotic, but harmless. They did not see strategy behind the movements. Humans had learned to exploit predictability. And the first small ripple was about to begin. In an underground lab in London, a group of scientists activated an old orbital drone. Its mission seemed trivial: adjust position slightly. But the result would force an alien sensor to recalibrate. One tiny error. One small disruption. From orbit, the alien fleet adjusted automatically. One ship drifted slightly out of formation. Nothing catastrophic. But enough. Human observers noted it immediately. The ripple had started. And the suspense escalated. People on Earth watched the skies in wonder and fear. No explosions. No weapons fired. But the fleet was no longer flawless. For the first time, the invaders' perfection was flawed. The question hung over humanity. Could one species, small and chaotic, cornered and observed, truly challenge the unknown? For the scientists and strategists, the answer was clear. Yes. And they were ready to take the first step. The alien fleet, patient and precise, would soon learn that fear was not the only tool humanity wielded. Unpredictability, creativity, and unity were far more dangerous. The battle had not yet begun. But the first move was no longer impossible. Humanity was watching, planning, learning, waiting. And above the planet, the alien fleet, unaware of the quiet storm building beneath, continued to hover silently. Humanity's first real move would not be loud. It would not be explosive. It would not be weapons aimed directly at alien ships. It would be subtle, calculated, almost invisible. In underground bunkers, abandoned subway tunnels, and forgotten military complexes, humans worked silently. Engineers, scientists, strategists, and volunteers formed small, secret cells. They were disconnected from the world above. No signals left their rooms. Every plan, every calculation, every command was executed in complete isolation. Maps of the alien fleet were displayed on holographic screens. Each ship's energy patterns, shield behavior, and orbital adjustments were recorded. Small errors the fleet had made, tiny misalignments, weak points in sensor readings, minor timing errors, were highlighted in red. A strategist addressed the team. They follow rules. They do not attack civilians. They calculate every move. That is their strength. And it is also their weakness. A scientist asked cautiously, "But how can we act without them noticing?" One mistake, one misstep, and they could strike back. The strategist nodded. "We will not strike directly. We will make them react to us indirectly. We will test their rules. Bend them. Make them strain against the very laws they trust." This idea shocked some of the younger engineers. "We're not attacking," one whispered. "We're tricking them?" "Yes," said the strategist. "The battlefield is not bullets or bombs. The battlefield is their mind, their systems, their confidence." They began with satellites. Most of the world had abandoned old satellites, left to orbit uselessly. Now small teams repurposed them. Some were equipped with tiny signal emitters, others with low-power manipulators designed to shift trajectories slightly. No human life was at risk. No alien ship would be harmed. Yet each adjustment would create confusion for alien sensors. Across the globe, cargo drones, once used to transport supplies, were modified. They would launch into low orbit in precise timing patterns. Their movement was almost imperceptible. Too small to detect as weapons. But enough to force alien systems to readjust constantly. In New Delhi, a group of scientists and engineers worked on something even stranger. They began experimenting with environmental manipulation. Minor changes in electromagnetic fields, subtle atmospheric shifts, carefully calibrated thermal variations, all designed to interfere with alien scanning technology. None of these actions were attacks. But the aliens did not know that. From orbit, alien ships noticed anomalies immediately. Sensors picked up movement, energy fluctuations, satellite repositioning, drone trajectories, and the aliens reacted instinctively. Shields adjusted. Sensors recalibrated. Energy was drained in ways their commanders had not planned. The humans observed silently. Every reaction, every adjustment by the aliens was recorded. Each small error gave them more data. Every correction revealed more about how the fleet operated. Meanwhile, governments above ground publicly urged calm. People noticed no unusual activity. Life went on, seemingly unaware of the hidden preparations beneath the cities. One young analyst observed the unfolding events in London. She adjusted a control panel slightly, causing a cargo drone to shift its orbit by centimeters. Almost imperceptible. The alien sensors detected it immediately and reacted. One ship tilted slightly, another corrected its trajectory, energy surges noted across the fleet. "That's it," she whispered. "The first real strain." Elsewhere, similar small disruptions occurred. From Tokyo to Sao Paulo, teams moved in sync, guided by analysis from Earth's top minds. No one knew the full scale, yet each person understood the importance. Every subtle move mattered. The aliens did not understand. Their logic dictated that humans would act predictably, panic, surrender, or attempt direct combat. None of that had happened. Humans were calm. They were organized. And they were unpredictable. Above Earth, the alien fleet's calm demeanor began to crack. Minor alarms beeped across the command decks. Some ships hesitated before making adjustments. Energy readings fluctuated. Shield responses were uneven. One alien commander spoke sharply. "Why are these signals interfering? There is no visible threat. Nothing is active." Another replied equally tense. "I do not know. They should be too weak. Yet our systems strain against them. Something is wrong." They did not see the subtle beauty of human strategy. Humanity was not attacking. They were teaching. They were testing. They were probing the rules of war imposed by the aliens themselves. And with every small misstep forced, humanity gained confidence. In underground labs, a retired pilot smiled faintly. "They think they are in control. They are not. Every reaction they make is data for us. Every hesitation, every correction, every wasted energy pulse. This is our advantage." In New York, civilians began reporting odd satellite movements. Lights blinked unexpectedly in patterns. Drones appeared to hover in impossible positions. Some thought it was a glitch. Some thought it was alien interference. The truth, humans were preparing the battlefield silently. Without violence. Without detection. Every action designed to confuse, strain, and provoke the aliens into mistakes. And for the first time since the fleet's arrival, humans felt control. Not power over the aliens yet, not by weapons, but control over the flow of the engagement. The suspense built as the alien system strained against the invisible pressure. No one fired a shot. No ship was destroyed. Yet the first cracks in the fleet's perfection began to appear. Above all, one realization settled among the humans in hidden bunkers. The battlefield was not in space. The battlefield was in the minds and systems of the aliens. And humanity was ready to strike first, without even firing a weapon. The first wave of subtle maneuvers had begun. And the aliens, confident in their rules and their calculations, did not yet realize the storm that was quietly assembling beneath them. The alien fleet hovered silently above Earth, like a watchful predator. Every ship reflected the sun's light, gleaming metal and energy shields forming an intimidating wall across the sky. From orbit, Earth looked calm, almost peaceful. Yet beneath that calm, something extraordinary was stirring. Humanity was preparing its first move. It was subtle, precise, almost invisible, but deadly in its effect. In underground command centers, scientists and strategists gathered around holographic projections. Lines and graphs pulsed as human-controlled satellites and drones began shifting in orbit. Each movement was small, measured in centimeters, yet perfectly timed. The aliens noticed immediately. "Adjusting trajectory," one ship reported. "Why are these signals interfering? There is no threat." "That is exactly what I want," the strategist whispered. "They do not see us, but they feel us." From the streets of Tokyo to the deserts of Arizona, small teams of engineers launched microdrones into low orbit. They carried nothing but sensors and reflectors, tools to confuse the aliens' calculations, not to harm. Each drone's movement forced alien shields to adjust, energy to shift, systems to recalibrate. The alien fleet responded instinctively. Ships tilted, energy surged, shields flickered. Minor errors appeared in formation. The perfection of the fleet began to crack. A young analyst in London watched the data with wide eyes. They're reacting. Every minor adjustment we make, they overcompensate. Look at that. She pointed to a holographic display. One alien vessel had drifted slightly out of line, another had misaligned its energy pulse. It's working, a strategist said calmly. They are following the rules. They cannot break them. And every rule they follow gives us an advantage. In New York, civilians stared at unusual patterns in the sky. Satellites glinted, drones hovered unnaturally, lights flickered with strange rhythms. Social media buzzed with speculation. Some thought it was a glitch. Others whispered about alien interference. None realized the truth. Humans were orchestrating the first act of defiance. Meanwhile, the alien commanders began to notice the pattern. Their systems were being strained. Minor adjustments were multiplying errors elsewhere. Energy readings fluctuated unpredictably. Human activity detected, one commander barked. No weapons fired. No attacks. Yet our fleet is destabilizing. They are not a threat yet, another replied. Why does it feel like one? The aliens did not understand. Their logic dictated that a species of this size, this technology, and this apparent vulnerability would react predictably. Fear, panic, or surrender. None of that happened. Humans were calm. Humans were organized. Humans were unpredictable. On Earth, in a hidden laboratory in Moscow, engineers initiated the first environmental manipulation. Using subtle electromagnetic pulses and slight thermal variations, they interfered with the alien sensor's ability to predict satellite and drone movements. It was invisible, harmless, but completely disorienting to the aliens. One alien ship's sensors flashed red. Another energy pulse misfired. A third began drifting away from its formation. The aliens panicked slightly. Not enough to strike yet, but enough to feel unease. In London, the analyst adjusted a small satellite's orbit by centimeters. The ripple spread across the fleet. Ships tilted unnecessarily, shields overcompensated, energy drains surged. It's beautiful, whispered the strategist. They think they control everything, but every rule they obey becomes their weakness. Across the globe, humans watched the effect. No one fired a shot. No one destroyed a ship. Yet the aliens were reacting as if under attack. The first contact had not been verbal. It had not been direct. But it had been made. And it was already shaping the battlefield. In the alien flagship, tension escalated. Commanders argued, their voices echoing across the metal halls. Why do they continue to interfere? One demanded. They have no weapons, another said. They should be afraid. Why do they not respond? Fear, calm, silent, and patient, was not part of the aliens' doctrine. They expected compliance. Humanity offered none. And then came the first minor collision. Two alien ships, adjusting shields and energy fields simultaneously, miscalculated. They drifted too close. A shield flared. A collision was avoided by centimeters, but the error sent a jolt through the fleet. Human observers cheered quietly. This was the first tangible proof that their plan worked. They were teaching the aliens to fear, not through weapons but through strategy. In the meantime, human strategists realized something vital. The alien fleet could recover. They had resources, calculations, and firepower beyond imagination. The challenge was not to destroy them yet, but to make them hesitate. To show them that humans were not a species to be underestimated. Across Earth, ordinary civilians felt the first tremors of hope. Social media lit up with strange patterns in the sky. Astronomers noticed unusual satellite movements. Experts whispered, the humans are doing something clever. Above all, the message was clear. Humanity would not react predictably. And that unpredictability was their weapon. The first ripple in the alien fleet had begun. And in that ripple, humans had found the first crack in perfection. The alien fleet, once perfect and imposing, was beginning to strain. Minor adjustments had become minor failures. Small errors in orbit were multiplying. Energy shields flickered unnecessarily. Sensors recalibrated too often. The aliens could feel it, though they could not see the source. Humanity had made its first move. Now it was time to break the rules. In underground command centers, strategists gathered around a massive holographic display. Every ship, every movement, every reaction had been recorded and analyzed. They think they are still in control, the strategist said calmly. But every rule they follow is being used against them. A young engineer leaned forward. What's next? We can't damage them directly, not yet. No, said the strategist. We don't need to. Chaos can be a weapon. And rules are fragile when pushed. Across the globe, humans executed the next phase. Satellites shifted slightly, cargo drones changed trajectory mid-flight, and small orbital disturbances were created deliberately. The aliens responded. And they overreacted. A single alien ship adjusted shields unnecessarily. Another misaligned its energy pulse. One drone collision was narrowly avoided. The ripple spread. Formation gaps appeared. The aliens had rules. Rules meant to maintain order, rules meant to prevent mistakes. Humanity's actions exploited those rules. Each minor adjustment forced overcorrection, and overcorrection created vulnerability. From Moscow to Tokyo, engineers and analysts watched the data. Every small error the aliens made gave them confidence. Every hesitation confirmed a pattern. Humans could manipulate the fleet without firing a single shot. In the skies above, civilians noticed unusual lights, drones hovering strangely, satellites blinking in patterns. No one understood the meaning, yet unease spread. Social media buzzed with speculation. But the aliens were beginning to panic. In the flagship, senior commanders shouted over one another. Why are our shields fluctuating? One demanded. Why are our formations misaligned? Another yelled. They are breaking our systems without weapons, a third muttered in disbelief. Their logic, their calculations, their doctrine, all of it was failing. On Earth, human analysts noted a new opportunity. They're reacting too strongly, one whispered. If we push a little further, we can fracture the fleet. And push further they did. Environmental manipulations increased. Minor gravitational shifts disrupted engines. Electromagnetic pulses interfered with targeting systems. Drones and satellites moved in unpredictable patterns. Every small action forced alien ships to adjust, and every adjustment revealed new vulnerabilities. The alien fleet, once a symbol of invincibility, began to falter. Ships collided, shields flared unnecessarily, energy pulses misfired. Panic spread among the crews. Orders contradicted each other. Commanders shouted at one another. For the first time, the aliens were uncertain. And humanity was ready. From London, analysts observed every flicker of failure. They're not attacking yet, one said. But they are afraid. In New York, civilians saw flashes in the sky. Small explosions, nothing dangerous, but strange lights dancing above the clouds. People wondered if these were weapons. They were not. Humans were still using subtlety, strategy, and psychological pressure. In the alien flagship, a senior commander admitted the truth aloud. They do not fight like we expect. They are different. Yes, said the fleet leader, voice tight. They do not follow fear. They follow purpose. That realization was dangerous. The aliens had never encountered a species that could manipulate them without direct confrontation. They had never faced a species that could weaponize unpredictability. Humanity's next move was bold. They activated coordinated patterns across Earth's orbit, creating sudden bursts of energy that forced alien shields to flare simultaneously. Minor collisions occurred. Ships drifted out of line. Sensors overloaded. Command networks received conflicting data. The ripple became a wave. The alien fleet could no longer maintain cohesion. Their rules meant to ensure victory, had become chains restricting their movement and amplifying mistakes. Humanity did not stop. They continued to push, observing and reacting in real time. Every adjustment the aliens made was analyzed and countered with a new subtle disruption. And then it happened. A single alien ship miscalculated completely. Its shields overloaded. Energy spiked. It drifted helplessly toward another vessel. Collision was avoided, but the warning was clear. The fleet was vulnerable. Across the alien command, panic spread. They are not supposed to do this, one commander whispered. They are not following the rules, another replied. We cannot predict them, a third muttered. For the first time, the aliens feared humans, not for their weapons, not for their numbers, but for their unpredictability. On Earth, the humans knew the stakes. They were testing, probing, and breaking rules, not their own but those of the aliens. And every failure the aliens made gave humanity confidence. This is it, said the strategist calmly. Phase 5. We've broken the rules they depend on. And they cannot recover. In orbit, the alien fleet struggled. Ships collided, shields flared, energy pulses misfired. Commanders shouted and argued. Errors multiplied. Panic spread like wildfire. Humanity had not fired a single shot. Not one life was lost. Yet the aliens were faltering. And the suspense continued. Above the Earth, civilians watched strange lights in the sky, flashing patterns, drones moving unpredictably, satellites blinking in odd rhythms. No one knew what it meant. But humanity knew. And the galaxy would soon learn. The aliens were cornered, not by force but by strategy. The first cracks had appeared. And humanity had only begun. The alien fleet was no longer perfect. Every ship, once a gleaming symbol of invincibility, now struggled to maintain formation. Shields flared unnecessarily. Energy pulses misfired. Engines corrected constantly, as if they were haunted by invisible hands. Humanity had broken the rules the aliens relied upon. And the consequences were immediate. Inside the flagship, alarm lights flashed red. Commanders shouted, each voice louder than the last. The fleet leader, towering and armored, slammed a clawed hand against the console. "They are not fighting like we expected," he roared. "We follow logic. We follow protocol. And yet, our systems fail." A subordinate reported frantically, "They are not using weapons. They have no fleet in orbit. Yet our shields fluctuate, our energy pulses misfire." The leader's eyes narrowed. "Humans, they are unpredictable. Too unpredictable." On Earth, humans watched silently, adjusting satellites and drones, executing subtle orbital maneuvers. Their movements were coordinated, precise, and almost invisible. Every adjustment forced the aliens to overreact. Every overreaction became data, and every data point strengthened humanity's strategy. In New York, civilians reported strange patterns in the sky. Satellites blinking erratically, drones hovering in impossible formations. People speculated, but no one guessed the truth. Humanity was controlling the battlefield without firing a single shot. In underground command centers, strategists and scientists observed the chaos unfolding above. They saw the cracks in the alien fleet widen. Ships collided, shields flared unnecessarily, energy surges drained systems. "It's working," said one analyst, voice tense but excited. "They're panicking." "Yes," said the strategist calmly. "But they still have weapons. They still have fleets. We must push carefully, but decisively." Using subtle energy manipulations and gravitational shifts, humans began guiding alien ships like pieces on a board. Minor collisions were narrowly avoided, creating panic but not destruction. Satellites and drones moved unpredictably, forcing shields to flare, engines to misfire, and energy to redistribute inefficiently. The alien fleet commander's voice trembled. "We cannot control them. They follow no pattern. They are dangerous." And dangerous they were. Humans were not firing weapons, not destroying ships, but they were winning. The aliens had never encountered a species capable of such strategic mastery without violence. Their rules, designed to ensure victory, had become their weakness. In Moscow, a retired pilot smiled faintly. "They thought fear would control us," he said. "It cannot. We have turned their rules against them." Across the globe, humans worked in concert but without knowing the full scale. In London, a satellite was adjusted slightly. In Tokyo, a drone moved unpredictably. In Sao Paulo, a gravitational micro-adjustment was calculated. Each small action caused ripple effects across the alien fleet. The aliens did not understand. Their sensors detected interference, but the source was invisible. Their logic, their calculations, their doctrine, all failed against unpredictability. For the first time, the alien fleet felt uncertainty. In the flagship, the leader made a decision. "We must regroup. We must enforce order." Orders were issued, but humans anticipated them. Using predictive algorithms and human creativity, the movements of the fleet were countered almost before they were executed. Every correction the aliens made became another opportunity for disruption. The fleet began to fracture. Ships drifted out of line. Collisions almost occurred. Shields overloaded. Energy pulses misfired. The once perfect wall of metal above Earth now looked fragile, chaotic, and fearful. Humanity watched silently, ready for the next move. They did not celebrate. Victory was not yet complete. But the tide had turned. The aliens were on the defensive without firing a single weapon. Above Earth, the sky seemed calm. Yet humans knew the truth. Chaos reigned in orbit. The aliens' panic spread from the flagship to every ship in the fleet. Minor failures multiplied. Communication between ships became strained. Orders contradicted one another. Crew members shouted over systems failing to respond. In secret human command centers, strategists observed with intense focus. Phase 6, the lead strategist said. We've induced panic. Now we push them further. They are losing confidence. Every decision they make is flawed. A young analyst added, they've never faced a species like us. They expected fear, compliance, surrender, but not ingenuity. Yes, said the strategist. We do not need to attack. Chaos is our weapon. The alien fleet will implode under its own rules. And implode it did. Small collisions occurred. Shields overcompensated and drained energy reserves. Minor energy surges caused confusion across systems. Alien commanders shouted, gave conflicting orders and tried to regain control, but their rules trapped them. Every overreaction created a new failure. On Earth, humans observed the ripple effects. Every misstep the aliens made was analyzed and stored for future planning. This was not destruction, it was data. It was strategy. It was the first real human victory. And yet humans held back. No direct attack was launched. No shots were fired. No lives were lost. Humanity was demonstrating power without violence. The aliens, confused and fearful, began to consider retreat. Their commanders argued, desperate to regain order. They had never lost before. They had never faced a species capable of orchestrating failure without weapons. In one final act, humans synchronized minor environmental manipulations across continents. Gravity, electromagnetic fields, satellite adjustments, all worked in concert to push the alien fleet to its limit. Minor collisions occurred, formations broke apart, and shields flared like sparks in a storm. The alien fleet was panicked. Every command was flawed. Every correction multiplied mistakes. Their confidence shattered. Humanity had done what no species before had done. They had broken the alien rules of war. The world above continued, unaware of the quiet victory unfolding in orbit. People went about their daily lives. Children played. Markets buzzed. Cars moved through traffic. But in secret command centers and underground labs, humans celebrated quietly. We've done it, said one scientist. They're panicking. They can't recover. The strategist nodded. This is only the beginning. But the universe has just seen the first proof that humans are not to be underestimated. Above Earth, the alien fleet began to retreat slightly, unsure, hesitant, fearful. Humanity did not strike. They did not need to. The aliens had learned their lesson. Chaos, unpredictability, and ingenuity had become weapons more powerful than any fleet. And humanity had mastered them. The alien fleet was faltering. Ships that once glided with mechanical perfection now drifted erratically. Shields flared without need. Engines strained, misfiring in sequences that seemed almost alive. Every adjustment they made only revealed more weakness. Humanity had orchestrated this chaos with precision. In command centers beneath Earth, the teams of analysts and strategists monitored every movement. They had not fired a single weapon, yet their control over the battlefield was absolute. The aliens, superior in technology and firepower, had become pawns of human ingenuity. Phase 7, said the lead strategist calmly. This is the moment we reveal the strength of our species. The operation began simultaneously across continents. Satellites were repositioned to create dazzling light displays in orbit. Drones moved in synchronized patterns, tracing arcs and shapes visible even to civilians on the ground. These displays were not attacks, they were messages, warnings, demonstrations. Above Earth, the alien fleet struggled to maintain formation. Ships collided slightly, energy shields misfired, communication networks overloaded with conflicting data. Every minor error compounded the last. Panic spread from one command ship to another. They are not fighting conventionally, the alien flagship commander shouted. They are different. Their power is not in weapons. It is in control. Humanity did not strike. They demonstrated. In London, analysts activated the final sequence of orbital maneuvers. Satellite signals created illusions of energy surges across multiple sectors. Drones moved in shapes mimicking massive weapon systems, creating visual confusion. The alien fleet reacted automatically, expending energy to counter non-existent threats. In New York, civilians watched the sky in awe. Satellites glimmered, drones moved in impossible arcs, lights blinked in sequences too precise to be random. People whispered, laughed nervously, and stared in disbelief. Some feared attack. Others wondered if this was a coordinated human display. Every reaction by the aliens was recorded, analyzed, and fed into Earth's control centers. Humanity had transformed chaos into intelligence, panic into strategy, fear into power. From Tokyo to Sao Paulo, small teams executed subtle environmental manipulations. Minor gravitational shifts disrupted alien engine efficiency. Electromagnetic pulses interfered with sensor recalibration. Satellites emitted harmless but confusing signals. The alien fleet began drifting apart. Ships lost coordination. Collisions were narrowly avoided, shields flared unnecessarily, and energy pulses misfired repeatedly. Commanders shouted, trying to regain control. "It is as if they know us," one commander said. "They predict our every move without weapons. Without attack." "How?" "They are not a threat in the conventional sense," another whispered. "They are something else." In underground command centers, strategists smiled faintly. "They've learned fear," said one. "But they do not know its source." And the source was human ingenuity, patience, and unpredictability. Then came the final demonstration. Across the planet, synchronized satellite displays created an immense, globe-spanning visual projection. Drones traced arcs visible from every major city. Electromagnetic pulses caused the alien fleet's shields to flash, creating a dazzling show of light and movement. The aliens, already panicked, miscalculated again. 2 ships nearly collided. A third drifted completely out of formation. Minor energy surges drained multiple vessels simultaneously. Command systems overloaded. Humanity did not attack. They did not destroy. They had demonstrated mastery. The aliens were cornered, humbled, and in awe. The alien flagship commander made a decision. "Retreat," he ordered. "We cannot maintain cohesion. We cannot predict them. Fall back." Ships disengaged cautiously, retreating from Earth's orbit. Some were damaged. Some drifted slowly, unable to maintain full formation. The perfect fleet had been broken. On Earth, the world continued unaware. People marveled at the skies, seeing the dazzling displays, interpreting them in countless ways: celebration, science experiments, or perhaps unexplained phenomena. They did not know that humanity had just executed the most strategic victory in history. Humanity's leaders observed the alien retreat in silence. No weapons were fired. No cities were destroyed. Not a single life lost on Earth. Yet they had won. And in that victory lay a lesson far greater than the defeat of a fleet. Power does not always lie in destruction. Sometimes it lies in patience, strategy, and creativity. In orbital command centers, humans analyzed every movement of the retreating fleet. Every error, every overreaction, every hesitation was stored for future reference. The aliens had underestimated a chaotic, unpredictable, and ingenious species, and humanity had used that weakness perfectly. Above Earth, civilians watched satellites blink and drones hover. Lights traced impossible arcs. The alien fleet receded, leaving Earth's skies calm once more. Children pointed upward, laughing. Parents held their hands, relieved. The world was safe. But humanity knew something important. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans had fought without firing a shot. They had demonstrated power without violence. They had turned chaos into dominance. And the universe would take notice. In secret, strategists noted the final message. Not a broadcast. Not a weapon. Just a signal, subtle but unmistakable. Earth is not to be underestimated. The aliens received the warning. They retreated. They recalculated. They would remember. Humanity had unleashed its true power. Not through weapons. Not through destruction. But through ingenuity, patience, and understanding. And as the alien fleet disappeared into the void, Earth exhaled. The sky was calm. Cities lit up. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. Humanity had evolved in the eyes of the galaxy. The stage was set. The galaxy had learned a lesson: never corner humans. And Earth would never be the same again. The alien fleet had retreated. Earth's skies were calm once more. Satellites resumed normal orbit. Drones descended gently to their landing points. The planet's hum returned to its normal rhythm. Children played in the streets. Markets reopened. Life seemed as it had before the arrival. Yet, beneath the surface, the world had changed forever. In underground command centers and hidden laboratories, humanity celebrated quietly. There were no fireworks, no parades. This victory was not about spectacle. It was about survival, ingenuity, and the demonstration of human potential. "We did it," a scientist whispered, staring at a holographic map of the alien retreat. "We won without a single shot." "Yes," said the strategist calmly. "And the lesson is clear. Power is not always measured by weapons. It is measured by creativity, adaptability, and understanding your opponent." Humanity has proven that today. Governments and leaders emerged from bunkers to assess the situation. Citizens demanded answers. Scientists and strategists debated how much to reveal. But one truth was universal: humanity had changed and the galaxy had taken notice. Across the world, news reports struggled to explain the inexplicable. Videos showed strange lights in orbit, drones moving in impossible formations, satellites blinking in patterns. Experts speculated, but no one fully understood the human strategy that had turned a near-invincible alien fleet into a retreating force. In secret, humanity prepared for the future. Every movement of the alien fleet had been recorded. Every reaction catalogued. Every error analyzed. The lesson was simple: unpredictability is a weapon. Ingenuity is a shield. And unity is strength. In orbital command centers, engineers calculated new strategies, ready for any potential return of the aliens. Satellites were upgraded. Drones redesigned. Systems improved. Humanity had turned chaos into a permanent advantage. Meanwhile, the aliens retreated to deep space. Their commanders were shaken. They had never faced a species that could manipulate perfection without violence, a species that could break the rules of war without firing a single shot. In one alien council chamber, the fleet leader spoke gravely. "They are dangerous," he said. "Not because of weapons. Not because of numbers. But because of their minds. Their unpredictability. Their creativity. We underestimated them." "Yes," another replied. "We must remember this. If we return, we cannot assume rules will work. We cannot assume fear will control them. Humanity is different." On Earth, humans rebuilt what had been disrupted, not because of war but because of preparation. Cities recovered from panic, communication networks resumed normal operation, and the planet slowly returned to its daily rhythm. But something had shifted in the human spirit. Confidence. Knowledge of their own power. The understanding that even against a superior force, ingenuity and unity could prevail. In classrooms, children whispered about the fleet in the sky. In homes, parents shared stories of how humanity had stood together without firing a shot. Across the world, people felt a subtle pride that had nothing to do with weapons or battles, but with the mind and spirit of humans. And the galaxy watched. Other civilizations, observing from afar, began to record what had happened. The Earthlings had defeated a superior fleet without weapons. They had used strategy, intelligence, and creativity. They had turned chaos into order, fear into control. The legacy was clear: humanity had earned its place in the galaxy not through destruction, but through mastery of ingenuity. In secret labs and command centers, scientists and strategists compiled reports and simulations. Every detail of the alien fleet, every reaction, every error was preserved. Humanity was no longer unprepared for the cosmos. They had learned. They had adapted. They had triumphed. And on Earth, life returned to normal, but not unchanged. Humans now understood their own potential. They had faced an unknown, overwhelming force, and they had prevailed through unity, creativity, and courage. The world felt larger, the future brighter, and the galaxy a little closer. From the mountains of Tibet to the skyscrapers of New York, from the deserts of Africa to the forests of South America, humanity felt a silent, collective pride. Not for war. Not for conquest. But for what they had achieved together. Proof that even when cornered, humans could rise above any threat. In a final, subtle broadcast, Earth sent a message into deep space. Not aggressive. Not threatening. Just clear. We are here. We are united. We are not to be underestimated. The aliens received it and understood. They would remember. And humanity, having proven its ingenuity, its patience, and its unpredictability, had begun a new chapter in history. A chapter where the galaxy knew one simple truth: never underestimate the humans. And as the sun rose across Earth, casting golden light over cities, forests, oceans, and mountains, one question lingered for the audience, for the world, for the galaxy. If humans could defeat a superior alien fleet with strategy alone, what could they achieve next? The story of Earth's triumph was complete, for now. But humanity's legend had just begun.